Well, good morning guys, Wandering Beast here, and I want to talk about Bigfoot Bushcraft. They approached me a while ago to do a video on their fire starter. Forgive me, I've got somebody sighting in a rifle not too far away, so if you hear gunfire, that's what it is. We're out here in the BLM today, just enjoying the weather. Winter has kind of made a turn towards spring, and I'm just doing a bit of wandering. But I wanted to touch base on these little fire starters. I'll put in some close-ups as we talk, but the size of them remind me a lot of the AMK quick tinder, the little compressed cotton that you could flick with a spark and get going. In fact, I'll put in a time lapse of using a quick tinder, one of the Bigfoot starters, and then just a homemade candle wax thing, and I'll put that in as I talk. But the importance of having a good quality fire starter that doesn't break the bank is important. I use them all the time, from every fire I start in the backcountry, every wood stove, every BioLite stove, you name it. I need fire starters, from the wood stove in my house to just wandering in the woods. And there are plenty of ways of making homemade tinder, but it takes time. You know, the classic, cotton ball and Vaseline is still a staple. But if you can find something that's going to be waterproof, that's going to hold up inside of a kit, that's something that's going to be able to be used in an emergency and be relied upon, that's totally different to me. Now, I've had some homemade tinders, and I've had to use 3 or 4 of them before to get stuff going. I've been in austere environments in the middle of winter when I've got every gizmo and gadget working for me to try to get a fire started. And so it's not always the easiest thing in the backcountry, even though I've been doing this for a very long time. So I have since put a bunch of these in a little Ziploc bag. They actually have kind of a nice scent to them. I'm not sure where that scent comes from, but they are pleasant to deal with. You know, to put this in your hand and to break the fibers open, it's not a tedious task. They don't smell bad. In fact, like I said, they smell quite nice. I like the fact that they're soft enough that I can pull them apart with my hand. Now, I will say most of the time, what I do is I carefully put a slice in them, and then you can kind of unravel them, and you end up with sheets of fire starter. And that does a couple of things. One, it still leaves me with kind of a core, if you will, that I can use on a second fire. And then 2, if you can see that, it exposes all of those fibers, so you can easily take a spark. All right, the other thing is they sent me their fire steel, which is a pretty good size. You can see I've got some pretty good sized fingers. It's definitely over 1/2 inch, it looks like. It does come with a small scraper. However, I almost always, you can see it's been used quite a bit, I use the spine of a Mora or spine of my knife, and I seem to get better and more consistent sparks. My Leatherman Signal, I usually pull the saw out and I use it on the back side, and it throws really good sparks. Well guys, there's a few things that a good fire starter has to do. First and foremost, it's got to work. I've never not had one of these light on me, whether it was raining or snowing or windy or anything else. If you have good proper fire etiquette and you get a good base going, this is going to work every time. The second thing is I think they have to be of a decent size. I love the size of these. I've got the UST Strike Force, has a little compartment. You know, I can carry multiple of these easily in a fire kit. They are near that size of that quick tinder, and I love that size. I've had some ultra mega extreme bigger fire starters that are guaranteed, and yeah, if you want to use that on an absolute emergency, but once you use those, they're gone. They don't break down easily. And third, it's got to be affordable. You've got to be able to compete with making homemade tinders out there. And if you're like me, I'm making fires constantly. Like I said, in the fireplace, the BioLite, every time I go to the back country, we're making a fire. Having something that's dependable and that I don't mind using all the time. Some of those things are quite expensive and they're big and chunky, as I mentioned, and you don't want to use them. So you try using something else, then it doesn't work, then you're screwing around with it. Next thing you know, your kids are getting cold because it's snowy out. This ticks all the boxes of a good quality fire starter. All right, now things they also sell, like the fire starter ferrocerium rod that comes with it, that is a perfect companion to something like this. It's a nice chunky size. It's got a wood handle, and it does everything you need it to do. The can is optional, but if you're like me, if you don't already have something to make charred cloth with, or if you want something more robust than carrying around in a sack or whatnot, then pick theirs up. They usually have some sort of package deal going on. All right, now the tin Didn't used to look like this, but like any good bushcrafter, you got to make some char cloth out of the tin to see if it'll work. Poked a hole in the top and using it as basically charred material. Alright, taking some juniper bark, made a small nest, folded it over. I've got a piece of my char on there. I don't know if I'm going to be doing this standing up. I'll put a quick spark in there and then we'll see if we can get this going. And there you go, without minimal processing. Literally just kind of scraped it off a tree. Folded it over, made myself a bird's nest. A little coercing, and I think it would make a great fire. Alright guys, we're going to wrap this up. Really cool little fire starter. Check out the links down below. Decent price, always works. That's kind of what you want. Wandering Beast signing off with Bigfoot Fire Starters. We'll see you down the road.
Thanks for all the love and support. You guys are amazing. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow the adventure on social media, and we'll see you on the road.